Welcome to Behind Closed Doors. Today, we are opening the file on a monster who cast a shadow of terror over the entire state of California for more than a decade. This is the story of a phantom who broke into homes in the dead of night, a predator who escalated from burglary to rape to brutal murder, leaving a trail of shattered lives in his wake. He was known by many names over the years: the Visalia Ransacker, the East Area Rapist, the original Night Stalker, and finally, the Golden State Killer. For over 40 years, his true identity remained one of the greatest mysteries in the history of American true crime. He was a ghost who seemed to vanish into thin air, leaving behind only the trauma of his victims and the frustration of the police who hunted him. But the most terrifying twist of all was that the man they were hunting was one of their own. He was a police officer, sworn to protect the very communities he was destroying. This is the chilling, true story of Joseph James DeAngelo, a man who lived a perfect double life until a revolutionary breakthrough in science finally brought him to justice. Before we delve into the dark mind of the Golden State Killer, please take a moment to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Your support is what allows us to keep bringing you these thrilling deep dives. Now, let us uncover the horrifying truth behind the mask. To understand the monster, we must first look at the man. Joseph James DeAngelo Jr. was born on November 8, 1945, in Bath, New York. His childhood was marked by severe trauma. He was regularly beaten by both of his parents. While his father, an army sergeant, was stationed in West Germany, young Joseph witnessed a horrific event that would permanently warp his mind. He claimed he was forced to watch as one of his sisters was raped by two airmen in a military warehouse. This early exposure to extreme violence and sexual assault planted a dark seed within him. Despite his troubled upbringing, DeAngelo seemed to build a successful, honorable life. He joined the United States Navy in 1964, serving as a damage contractolman during the Vietnam War. After his military service, he pursued higher education, graduating with honors in police science from Sierra College and earning a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Sacramento State University. In 1973, he achieved his goal. He became a police officer, serving first in Exeter and later in Auburn, California. On the surface, he was a respectable citizen. He married a woman named Sharon Huddle in 1973, and they eventually had 3 daughters. His wife became a successful divorce attorney, and to his family and neighbors, he was just a regular guy. His eldest daughter would later describe him as a perfect father. But beneath this facade of suburban normalcy, a terrifying transformation was taking place. The training he received to catch criminals was instead being used to become the ultimate predator. If you are already shocked that a police officer could hide such a dark secret, hit that like button right now. And make sure you are subscribed to World's Most Thrilling Cases so you don't miss a single detail of this twisted story. The nightmare began in the mid-1970s in the San Joaquin Valley town of Visalia. A mysterious figure, dubbed the Visalia Ransacker, began breaking into homes. Over a period of 20 months, he committed more than 120 burglaries. His methods were strange. He rarely stole cash or high-value items. Instead, he took low-value, personal items like coins, stamps, and single earrings. He would scatter women's underclothes and arrange items in bizarre displays. He was testing his boundaries, learning how to break into homes silently, how to move through neighborhoods unseen, and how to control his environment. But the ransacking soon escalated to violence. On September 11, 1975, Claude Snelling, a 45-year-old journalism professor, awoke to strange noises in his home. He ran to the carport and found a ski-masked intruder attempting to kidnap his 16-year-old daughter. When Snelling intervened, the intruder shot him twice, killing him, before kicking the daughter and fleeing into the night. 3 months later, on December 12, Detective William McGowan was on a nighttime stakeout in a neighborhood the ransacker was known to frequent. McGowan spotted a masked man in a backyard and attempted to detain him. The suspect shrieked, removed his mask, and feigned surrender. But it was a trap. As McGowan approached, the suspect suddenly fired a gun. The bullet shattered McGowan's flashlight, sending shrapnel into his eye. McGowan fired back, hitting the suspect in the shoulder, but the man managed to escape. The police launched a massive manhunt for the Visalia Ransacker. They had no idea that the man they were looking for was actively participating in the search. Joseph DeAngelo was a police officer in the neighboring town of Exeter, assisting in the investigation of his own crimes. In 1976, DeAngelo moved to the Sacramento area, taking a job with the Auburn Police Department. With the move came a terrifying escalation. He was no longer just a burglar, he became the East Area Rapist. His modus operandi was chillingly methodical. He stalked middle-class neighborhoods, looking for homes near schools, creeks, or trails that offered quick escape routes. He conducted extensive reconnaissance, sometimes watching a house for weeks or months. He would learn the occupants' routines, peek through windows, and even break into homes while the residents were out to unlock windows, unload guns, and hide ligatures for later use. He frequently called his future victims, hanging up or breathing heavily, just to learn their schedules. At first, he targeted women who were home alone or with children. On December 18, 1976, he broke into the home of 15-year-old Chris Pedretti. She was home alone, playing the piano. He put a knife to her throat and whispered a phrase that would later become the title of a famous book about him: "Do what I say or I'll kill you and be gone in the dark." For over 2 hours, he subjected her to horrific abuse, alternating between raping her and forcing her to stand outside naked in the freezing winter cold. When the media reported that the East Area Rapist only attacked lone women, DeAngelo adapted. He began targeting couples, proving that no one was safe. He would break in, awaken the sleeping couple by shining a blinding flashlight in their eyes, and threaten them with a handgun. He forced the woman to tie up her husband or boyfriend with shoelaces he had brought with him. He would then stack dishes on the man's back, warning that if he heard the dishes rattle, he would kill everyone in the house. He was completely in control. He would spend hours in the home, ransacking drawers, eating food from the refrigerator, drinking beer, and repeatedly assaulting the woman. During one attack in 1978, he repeatedly muttered, "I hate you, Bonnie." Bonnie was the name of his former fiancée, who had broken off their engagement years earlier because of his abusive behavior. He was taking out his rage and rejection on innocent women. Are you horrified by his methodical planning and absolute control? Leave a comment below and let us know what you think is the most terrifying aspect of his methods. And don't forget to share this video with your fellow true crime fans. The East Area Rapist terrorized Northern California, committing at least 51 rapes. But the violence was about to escalate again. On February 2, 1978, a young military couple, Brian and Katie Majori, were walking their dog in Rancho Cordova. They encountered DeAngelo, who chased them down and shot them both to death in the street. The rapist had become a serial killer. In July 1979, DeAngelo's double life began to crack. He was arrested for shoplifting a hammer and a can of dog repellent from a store. During the arrest, his behavior was bizarre and pathetic. He defecated in his pants, feigned a heart attack, fought with store security, and rolled around on the floor pretending to be insane. He was fired from the Auburn Police Department. Stripped of his badge and his authority, his rage boiled over. He moved to Southern California and became the original Night Stalker. From 1979 to 1986, he committed a series of brutal murders in Santa Barbara, Ventura, and Orange counties. He no longer left survivors. On December 30, 1979, he broke into the Goleta condominium of Dr. Robert Offerman, an orthopedic surgeon, and Dr. Deborah Manning, a psychologist. He shot them both to death in their bedroom. Offerman's bindings were found untied, indicating he had lunged at the attacker in a desperate bid to save their lives. On March 13, 1980, he murdered Charlene and Lyman Smith in their Ventura home. He bludgeoned them to death with a log taken from their own woodpile. Their bodies were discovered 3 days later by Lyman's 12-year-old son. The killer had bound their wrists with a complex, unusual knot known as a diamond knot, a signature that briefly earned him the nickname the Diamond Knot Killer. On August 19, 1980, he attacked Keith and Patrice Harrington in their gated community in Dana Point. They had been married for only 3 months. He bludgeoned them so severely that Patrice's face and skull were pulverized. He continued to strike, murdering Manuela Whithoon in 1981, Cherie Domingo and Gregory Sanchez later that same year, and finally, 18-year-old Janelle Cruz in May 1986. Janelle was beaten beyond recognition with a pipe wrench while her family was on vacation. And then, just like that, the murders stopped. The Golden State Killer vanished. For decades, the case remained cold. The different police jurisdictions did not initially realize that the Visalia Ransacker, the East Area Rapist, and the original Night Stalker were the same person. It wasn't until 2001 that DNA testing officially linked the Northern California rapes to the Southern California murders, creating the acronym ERANS. The killer continued to taunt his victims from the shadows. In 1991, a previous victim received a phone call from him. She could hear a woman and children in the background, a chilling hint that the monster had a family. In 2001, just 1 day after a newspaper article linked the crimes, another victim received a call. A familiar, hoarse voice asked, "Remember when we played?" Despite massive task forces, composite sketches, and a $50,000 reward offered by the FBI in 2016, the killer remained a ghost. True crime author Michelle McNamara dedicated years of her life to the case, coining the name Golden State Killer and writing a masterful book titled I'll Be Gone in the Dark. Tragically, she died in 2016, just 2 years before the breakthrough she had worked so hard to achieve. If you are fascinated by the decades-long hunt for this phantom, hit that subscribe button right now. The way they finally caught him will blow your mind. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source, consumer DNA testing. In December 2017, Detective Paul Holes and FBI lawyer Steve Kramer decided to try a radical new approach. They took the killer's DNA profile, which had been preserved from a 1980 rape kit, and uploaded it to GEDmatch, a public genealogy website where people share their DNA results to find distant relatives. The website identified a handful of people who shared great-great-great-grandparents with the killer. A team of investigators, working with genealogist Barbara Ray Venter, began the painstaking process of building massive family trees, tracing lineages back to the 1800s. They built dozens of trees, one containing over 1,000 people. They used age, location, and physical descriptions to eliminate suspects one by one. Finally, only one name remained: Joseph James DeAngelo. He was 72 years old, living quietly in a Sacramento suburb, working as a retired truck mechanic, and living with his daughter and granddaughter. To confirm their theory, police needed a fresh DNA sample. On April 18, 2018, they secretly swabbed the door handle of DeAngelo's car while he was parked at a store. A few days later, they collected a discarded tissue from his curbside garbage can. Both samples were a perfect match to the DNA left at the crime scenes decades earlier. On the afternoon of April 24, 2018, police officers surrounded DeAngelo in the side yard of his home. The Golden State Killer, the monster who had terrorized California for 12 years, was finally in handcuffs. While sitting alone in a police interrogation room shortly after his arrest, DeAngelo was recorded muttering to himself. He said, "I didn't have the strength to push him out. He made me. He went with me. It was like in my head, I mean, he's a part of me. I didn't want to do those things. I pushed Jerry out and had a happy life. I did all those things. I destroyed all their lives. So now I've got to pay the price." Prosecutors believe this Jerry persona was just another manipulation tactic, a desperate attempt to lay the groundwork for an insanity defense, much like his performance during his 1979 shoplifting arrest. Because the statute of limitations had expired on the rapes and burglaries, DeAngelo could only be charged with the murders and kidnappings. Faced with overwhelming DNA evidence and the possibility of the death penalty, he accepted a plea bargain. On June 29, 2020, in a makeshift courtroom set up in a university ballroom to accommodate the massive crowd of survivors and family members, the frail, 74-year-old man sat in a wheelchair and repeatedly whispered the word guilty. He pleaded guilty to 13 counts of first-degree murder and 13 counts of kidnapping. He also admitted to the unchanged armed rapes and burglaries. On August 21, 2020, after listening to days of powerful, heart-wrenching victim impact statements, DeAngelo offered a brief, hollow apology. "I've listened to all your statements, each one of them, and I'm truly sorry to everyone I've hurt." He was sentenced to 13 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. The man who had sneaked into homes in the dark, wielding a flashlight and a gun, is now locked in a brightly lit cell in the California State Prison, Corcoran, where he will remain until his dying day. The capture of the Golden State Killer was a watershed moment in criminal justice. It proved that no matter how much time has passed, no matter how cold the trail gets, the truth is written in our DNA. It brought closure to dozens of families who had waited over 40 years for justice, and it sent a powerful message to every unsolved case in the world: you cannot hide forever. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the chilling case of Joseph James DeAngelo. If you found this video compelling, please hit that like button, share it with your friends, and leave a comment below. What do you think is the most shocking part of this investigation? And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to World's Most Thrilling Cases and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay safe, trust your instincts, and stay curious.